Women Hangout. Hi, everybody. And I'm RV Lady, and you are also greeted by Nana's Joy. And also, okay, even though everybody can see you doing that, I will not introduce you. Everybody can see this.
Okay, I am turning me off.
Okay. So today's subject, I think, is I get hundreds of emails on this. Okay. And the subject is always, what kind of RV is best for me? I know what kind of RV is best for me. But people want some advice as to what kind of RV they should get.
Excuse me while I'm moving around.
I know, that's me making all of that noise.
I couldn't stand having that ding dong in my ear.
Okay, just take it. You can just put it on the ground. And I did it
No,
again.
that sucker's big.
Anyway, so we are going to discuss the pros and cons of the various RVs that a lot of people, use. We're going to cover tent camping with an SUV. We're going to cover the pop-ups and the smaller trailers that you pull behind your car. We're going to talk about they call them Class Bs. I don't really know that they make those anymore, but they're van conversions, kind of the same thing as a van. And then we're also going to discuss the Class Cs, which are the ones that look like a van with an RV on the back of it. And then we're also going to talk about the Class As. And we don't have all the answers. I have personally owned an SUV and many tents. I loved doing that for years and years. I have owned 2 Class A's, and I've also owned a Class C. So wonderful Patches. Patches was such a great vehicle. But if you have any questions as we're doing this, just go ahead and type and okay. And then type any questions that you have, and because I can't read and talk at the same time, I have to stop. You can always tell when I'm, reading because I stop talking. I know it's so rare. If anybody would like to come on to the video chat and ask their questions or participate in the discussion, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm happy to put the link down there if anybody wants to do anything. Does this thing actually work? Am I actually on the correct page? Because nobody's like live chatting. Is anybody live chatting on anybody else's thing?
Nope, I see nothing.
Okay, ditto. So I'm going to type in hello and welcome to the RV Women Hangout for July 27th. Okay. Okay, just checking to make sure everything's working.
I see it, so.
Okay. We have 8 viewers, and of course now I'm going to have to cough my brains out.
Well, I mean, there's really no sense. Oh, wait. So you're going to video this, and then you're going to repost it, right? Is that how this works?
No. When we are finished with the chat, I stop the chat. And YouTube automatically uploads it to my page.
Oh.
Okay. Now, the after chat, that was kind of not fun because I have to use YouTube's editing format in order to edit that. But after last week, I think I pretty much have that figured out. So it'll be easier this week. Let's see. So I guess we can start out with, okay, oops, I can't believe I just did that. Let's start out with, for a lot of people, they want to get out, explore. A great way for people to understand exactly what they're getting into is with a tent, believe it or not. Now, what I did when I was tent camping was more like glamping, if you're familiar with that term. It was very luxurious. I had rugs on the floor of my tent. I had 3 tents. One was just for storage. The other 2 was for cooking as need be, if I needed to cook indoors. That's what that was for, or for eating indoors. I also had a screened room. And then I had my sleeping tent, which was very large. I think it slept 4 to 6 people. And I actually put down blankets on the floor of the tent, so it felt very much like having a rug underneath my feet all the time. I suppose I could have used a rug, but blankets were lighter. I would pack up all the things that I needed into my SUV and then take out for parts unknown. I had a 4-wheel drive SUV, and it was really my second vehicle. And it worked out really well. I probably glamped for 20 years. When I decided, and I would glamp on a bed. I wasn't, you know, I started out with a cot and then the blow up mattresses. The sleeping on the floor thing, no, I actually never did that. I'm not good at getting up off the floor. But from there, I went to a Class A. It was a 36-foot monster, and it was really too much RV for me. And that was the one that my brother stole and never saw it again. Now, long convoluted story, not worth mentioning. My next RV was the Class C, and that's the one that looks like the van, but then it's got the RV part on the back of it. You've probably seen them on YouTube channels, whatnot. And that one's name was Patches, and that's because it was patched everywhere. And some viewer came up with that name. I just loved it. And I ended up selling Patches.
All right, I just want to put up one of these quotes, and some of them I have to say we can't really put up on the screen at all. But
okay, Buffy, you need to shut off the other
because Ryan tells him that he understood that certain individuals were having dinner at the White House, and he reported that
somebody's having dinner at the White House.
Story.
It has to be Buffy. It's not me.
No, I can see that it's Buffy. Muted her. I have that ability here. I can mute you. So, Buffy, if you want to come back on, yeah, I've muted you, and you have no idea that I've done that. Anyway, oh, there it is. Buffy, I have muted you. You have something. TV. Oops, TV running in background. Okay, so don't know what glamping is? Oh my God, glamping is the best. Glamping is camping with finery. You know, you're taking nice quality sheets, you're taking candles, you're taking anything. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, like in Arabian, and you walk into the tents and they're very beautiful and well, you know, appointed, and they've got statuary in them and all that stuff. That's glamping. I love glamping. Don't mute me, RV lady. I will not. I will only mute Buffy because she's got like a TV running in the background, and she's here on the screen, and anybody who wants to is more than welcome to come on screen. And
As long as they're not male.
As long as they're not male, yeah. So it's only women that are allowed on the live chat portion of the video. And once again, for all you men who just think I'm being a big biatch, I'm not. I'm not interested in looking at your private parts or watching your hands demonstrate sex. Okay, so we're clear on that. Now, remember that little kid? He was like 14, 15 years old, and he gets on. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
Ross's wife says, I'm a female.
yes, you may come on, Heather. Oh, I could actually put the link. Let me find it first. Okay. Let me do that. And I will put the link in a message to everyone. Click, follow instructions. You will be on the video. Oh, I spelled it right.
It's not, it's Ross.
Only. Oh, well, Ross, you're not allowed. Yeah, I adore you, but no, you're not allowed.
He says Heather's in bed, he says.
Oh, well, good for her. Did it rain there, Ross? It rained here today. Okay. There you go. And just so you think, if you're a man and you think you're going to get on, yeah, I've got all the controls right here, and I will take you out before anybody gets to see you. Okay, that's just good to know. Okay, so now Ross the boss can't go on. Come on, Buttercup. No, Ross the boss cannot come on. Heather can, but Ross, you have to stay, you know, in the gallery. Anyway, glamping was fun. I really enjoyed it. There was a point in my life where I kind of said to myself, wouldn't it be so much easier if I just had the one vehicle and I wouldn't have to like pull all this crap out and like put it up and then put it all away and fold it all really nicely and roll it and put it in its little bags and blah, 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 and went out and bought an RV. Okay. Now, as I said, my first RV was, I don't have my headphones, so we'll just listen. Okay. Was way too big, and it didn't get me where I wanted to go. Okay. I have never really enjoyed RV park RVing. And so I wanted to be able to boondock. I wanted to be able to go to places that weren't necessarily like the worst roads, but not the greatest roads either. And so what I ended up doing is buying a Class C RV, great engine, maybe 48,000 miles on it. The guy who was selling it said the transmission was bad. And what else? Oh, and it had delamination. Now, for those of you who do not know what delamination is, it's when the exterior skin of your RV starts to separate from the interior wall. Okay, so it bubbles. It gets air in there. It'll get moisture. It'll just get worse and worse and worse. And to fix it is a nightmare. So not a fun thing. And plus, the guy had backed into the trailer that he was towing and dented the driver's side rear end of the RV and put the bumper like crushed into the RV. So I paid him a whopping $500 for that RV. There wasn't anything wrong with the transmission. I went and changed and looked, you know, dropped the transmission pan, ran a magnet through it, blah, blah, blah. There was nothing, there were no pieces, no shards, no nothing, not even the most microscopic little piece of steel, nothing. So the transmission was fine. Now, probably 2,000 miles later, I discovered that the transmission did indeed need aid, and it needed new seals, and I put in a used, but slightly used, I think they call them converters, in that. It cost me $800 maybe. I don't even think it was that much. When I left the repair place, my bill was like, I don't know, $1,100, and that's because I was shopping while I was there, because I didn't have anything else to do. So I bought a bunch of stuff that I still have. That was probably overpriced, and I was in the middle of nowhere, literally, in Northern California. So it ran great. Ended up knowing at that point what I wanted after having the Class C. From going to a Class A to a Class C, then I knew what I wanted. And what I wanted was an approximately 30-foot Class A, with a generator that worked. And interestingly enough, when I was traveling and in an RV park in Klamath, Northern California, it was parked right next to me at the torque converter, thanks. It was parked right next to me at the RV park, and that's the RV that I'm in right now. Now, it was only 26 feet, which made me sad. But 26 feet works really well for state and federal parks, okay? Because they have length restrictions. People with 35 footers aren't getting in there. If you wanted to, say, go to Yosemite, you're not going to do that in a 35 footer, because they don't. If they do have accommodations, they have one RV park that has them, and you'll have to make your reservation years in advance, if that makes sense. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or want to add anything regarding tent camping or glamping? You know, speak now, and then we'll kind of move on.
I started out in a tent. We got the orange tents that had the blow up arch, and we were out drinking and we crawled in there, and I woke up in the morning and it was all orange in there, and I thought I died and went to hell. I decided that was enough of that. So we went to a pop-up and did a trip, and that worked all right. But every time, if it's wet, you fold it down, then everything transfers to wet, and you have to dry it out. So didn't care for that. And then we went to, we took one trip that we had an international scout, and we slept in the scout, drove out to California and back around, and had fun doing that. We were young and stupid. And then we went to a Class C when we had kids, and we loved that. But then we decided to buy a small farm, got rid of that, and now we have a 38-foot Class A, which I dearly love.
Yeah. Yeah, I figure well, 38 foot, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, 38 foot's a little too big for me. My next RV is probably going to be 38 foot. But the only reason it's going to be 38 foot is because it's going to be a diesel pusher. And
that's what we have.
Yeah. Oh, 38-foot diesel pusher. Yeah,
Yep.
That's what I want. That's so. When are you putting yours up for sale? You guys need to get a new one.
No, I don't like mortgages.
Yeah, ditto. The next thing that Nana's Joy hit on were the pop-ups, and you know, the small trailers or trailers that you tow behind your vehicle. There are a couple of reasons why having those are nice. They're not so nice. The pop-up, obviously, if it's raining and you're taking it down, you have to then take it home and dry it out. It's going to get everything on the inside wet unless they've improved them immensely. Oh, I like that. 35, 99 fluids. Oh, but that's gas. And but what's really nice about having two vehicles, the towing vehicle and the towed vehicle, is that you have a vehicle when you get there. For people who are Class C, Class A people, we pretty much have to tow something, toads, and or we have to drive our RVs around to go to the grocery store, run down and buy donuts, or whatever it is that we're going to do. We have to have a separate vehicle to go do that. The bigger your, like a diesel pusher, like what Nana's Joy has, what's great about that is you can pull a much more substantial vehicle. And what do you pull behind your RV? Do you ever pull your truck?
No, we don't pull a truck, but we pull an XUV, a GMC Envoy XUV, which is pretty good size.
That is good size.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's what I would like to be able to do, and which is why I want the diesel pusher, is so that I can tow a much larger four-wheel drive vehicle. The Suzuki is really great, but I'm getting older, and the bumpity bumps, yeah, they're not working for me. I need a much better suspension system underneath my Tukas.
Yep.
So I want to be more comfortable. I want to be able to go off-road, but I want to be comfortable going off-road. And some of the Jeeps and some of the trucks that are four-wheel drive, they're pretty comfortable. And so I figured that I could pick up a Toyota Tundra, I want to say they are, 4x4, and tow that behind a diesel pusher. So, you know, it's all future stuff because I'm in an RV forever because I love RVing. But
You know when you said you didn't want to go that big because you want to go on kind of bumpy roads. We took it all over Alaska, and we were on roads that most people wouldn't think about, you know, taking their RV, and this went beautifully.
well, it's because of the diesel pusher. You know, those engines that are in those diesel pushers are basically the same things that are in semi trucks, you know,
Right.
and they're going up and down. I would not enjoy a gas vehicle and or that kind. I mean, you know, my RV rides pretty well, but those diesel pushers are like driving on glass. You know, they're just so much more comfortable. The suspensions are so much better. You know, those big Freightliner, I want to call them, suspension systems that are under them,
Yeah.
to support the weight of a diesel engine is just so much better than a gas engine. But that's not what we're talking about. Okay, so where were we? We left off at the pop-ups and any kind of vehicle that you're towing. Now, trailers, pop-ups, things like that, they are not designed to, you know, kind of go off country. They're designed to go to an RV park or go to a nice flat place that, you know, you can pull into an RV park that has, like, you know, nice spaces. And that's what those are designed for. They're definitely not designed for full-time. Bye, Jose. They're not really designed for, you know, like boondocking out in the middle of nowhere, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure people do it, but little tiny wheels, really bad suspension. They're just not the rock'em sock'em robot things. And to get to some of the boondocking places, you really need the rock'em sock'em stuff. But it is really nice having, now what's the noise? That's Nana's Joy. Oh, that's the chimes.
Yeah, it's a ding dong.
Okay, we forgive you for the chimes. The travel trailers, same thing. Those things are designed to be on pavement, to pull into RV parks, to park preferably on pavement, and then you have your vehicle where you can drive around and go see things and do whatever it is that you want to do. those things to me would be very logical if you had like a four-wheel drive vehicle pulling it, and then you could leave it someplace that's really nice and then drive off to the great beyond in your four-wheel drive vehicle. Again, with trailers, the suspension, I'm sure they're making them better, but you know, the suspension in a trailer is not the same heavy-duty suspension that you get in a motorized vehicle. The seams on a lot of trailers, even fifth wheelers, things like that, the seams go. And it's because they're not designed for a rock'em sock'em kind of life. They're designed to be pulled into trailer parks. Fifth wheelers, you know, they're made a little bit better, but they're really, I'm going to stop myself right there. And the reason I'm going to stop myself is because my only experience that I've ever had with a fifth wheeler is via YouTube. So I'm watching the good and the bad associated with a fifth wheeler. And from what I have seen on YouTube, looking at fifth wheelers, my answer would be never in this lifetime would I own one. I have seen people at RV parks. Some of them struggle with their fifth wheelers. Others, you know, bam, bam, drop it, done. You know, but once again, it just kind of depends on what kind of RVer you want to be. If you are not a fan of what does that say?
Not a fan of RVs.
Dirt.
They're more of a pickup truck type of guy, Not
a fan of RVs. Yeah, you know, everybody's different. That's why they make so many different things. And it is the correct RV for you, is the correct RV for you. But I guess my point is to be aware of all the choices that you have in order to facilitate what is a tremendously wonderful lifestyle. And
Part of it has to do with your age too.
Yeah.
Younger people get in vans and they do fine all hunched over. I don't do well hunched over.
Ditto.
And a lot of the older ones that are in vans are now putting high tops so they can stand up.
Yeah. And for me, for a van, going in and out of it is very hard on me physically. You know, because you're starting up high and you have to go down low, and there's a ducking thing that's involved in that. And plus there's just not enough space for me. I need more space. But, you know, people who love vanning, they love it.
Yep.
And for me, because I had a four-wheel drive SUV, and yeah, I could have slept in it if I wanted. It was not my first SUV four-wheel drive, but you know, could I have slept in it? Yeah. Did I ever? I think once. You know, I would put up my tent, and those would be my space, my room, my, you know, one was a living room, basically, one was a storage room, I had a cooking room, and then I had my bedroom.
Right.
Lots of tents. And nobody ever bugged me because they thought I was a lot of people. They couldn't believe that one person brought all the stuff just for themselves. But, you know, there were times where I would go out as far as that four-wheel drive would get me into, and I would stay for 2 or 3 weeks driving into town to get water or ice or whatever it was that I needed. And it worked out for me fine until I got older, and then it wasn't fine. I needed to change. I needed to do something different. And which is when I bought the first Class A. What I missed from going from a Class A to a Class C, honest to God, this is like so stupid. The big windows up front. I love those big windows. I love them.
It's like a picture window.
Yeah, it's National Geographic.
Yeah.
As you're driving through, it's fabulous. And with the van size or regular windshield size windows, it just, I mean, it was still spectacular, but it just doesn't compare. It's so weird. And yeah, I know I'm so weird, but the reason I have a Class A is because of the windows. I love the big windows.
On top of that, it's nice to have the comforts of a regular toilet and a shower.
Well, I had that in the Class C. You know, I had a regular toilet. I had a regular shower. As a matter of fact, I like them because the truck, I mean, I'm sorry, the Class C had the commode. Sean Patrick joined this call. No, Sean, you're not. Sorry. How do I delete you? Sean, it's not personal. It isn't personal, Sean. There are only women allowed on the RV Women Hangout. And I've covered it so many times in so many hangouts that I'm not going to repeat myself now. But I had the shower on, you know, one side of the hallway, if you will. And then I had the commode and the sink on the other side of the hallway. I liked it. I could open the door to the shower, open the door to the bathroom, and it created a walkthrough. And so I could, from the commode, go into the shower or vice versa.
Right.
And I liked it. I liked having them separate. I would think, and I just travel by myself. I would think that people who travel with more than one person, their needs would be different as well. You know, and I can't imagine, and I know a lot of SUVs, a lot of RVs are offering like half baths now. Did I see that someplace where you have a full bathroom and you have a half bath?
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like them?
No, because I would rather have more kitchen than another toilet.
Yeah, I'd rather have more, just entertaining space.
Yeah.
Than anything else. And, you know, subsequently, my next RV will be a monster. But, you know, I'll be able to handle it. The other thing that I did was had an understanding that I was coming out of small, mid-sized cars, and to jump into an RV was going to be a learning curve. And when I say learning curve, I mean by hitting stuff. Backing into things or pulling forward and smacking a branch or ripping stuff off. So even with this RV, when I hit stuff or whatever, you know, I'm a little ticked off, but it's not the end of the world, mostly because, okay, I paid cash for it. So it's not like I have a payment. I can use my deductible, which is only $500 to have anything fixed that I want fixed. And I have AAA. They don't bat an eye. And when you say, hey, need this fixed, I had the windshields, the 2 panels in the front of the RV replaced. And, you know, if you don't have a low deductible, you hesitate and you drive around with the glass that's cracked. Yeah, that would be bad because I like the big windows.
Stuart's asking any thoughts on caravans or camper vans?
Camper vans. Now, I have always known those to be Class Bs. And a Class B comes with a sink, a toilet, the toilet that you shower in, you know, it's like the same. I can see where for some people, it would be and it has a bed in it and stuff like that. The plumbing's already done. There are a lot of advantages. If I was ever going to go to a van, which would never happen, I would go to something like that. I would never take a van and try to construct it to meet my needs, because my needs change on a pretty much moment by moment basis. So, and I would never want to sit on a toilet and shower at the same time.
Wet baths are not good.
No, to me, that just doesn't sound appealing. But there are a lot of people, and and they're single travelers. You know, I have only seen one couple that were in a van again, and they separated. You know, they eventually broke up. And went their separate ways. I don't really know the end of that story, but having two people in a van, I think, would be very, very difficult. That's just too close. And I know you can just go outside and be lost in the wilderness or whatever. I get that, but sometimes you just want to be inside. You want to sit inside and read a book and not let the thousands of mosquitoes like bother you, or the flies, or you just want to be inside and you just want to sit and relax. And, you know, oftentimes that's difficult to do in a van, especially
Sometimes it rains 2 or 3 days and you're stuck in there.
Oh yeah, rain. Hadn't thought about that. I should have, here in North Carolina. I think that a lot of people will use the van or conversion van or Class B, however you want to list them, as their starter vehicle. You know, they're not really committed, but they can still use the van to be other things, and it's not the end of the world if they stop, you know, traveling or RVing or whatever. Plus, it gives you that great ability to urban camp. For a lot of people, they have jobs. They see a van as a less expensive way to exist in a metropolitan city. And that makes sense to me. It really does. You know, to me, it makes more sense to go live in a what is that? 20 square foot? Are they 20 square foot? I guess they go in cubic feet, don't they? But to me, it makes more sense to go live in a van than it does to pay $2,200 a month of rent. That's insane.
But it is great for people that are at minimal income to live on, you know, and that really works out good. They get to go do something and they can live cheap.
Yeah, that's very true too. And if I was ever, I mean, I kind of, not in a van, I didn't, it in an SUV, but I kind of did that. But, you know, I pulled out, I think at one point I had 5 tents and a screened room. And I may have had just like an awning. Not really sure. And I did that for 15 years. You know, that's what I did until I got older and said, yeah, this is too much work. I need something that's less work and more enjoyable, less work.
Yeah. It's strictly a personal thing. Everybody likes something different.
It's fuel efficiency. It depends how much gasoline is. It depends on how many toys you have that you want to take with. A lot of times when I'm thinking about buying toys or whatever, you know, like a bicycle, you know, every once in a while I think, oh, I should get a bicycle. Cheaper for me to just rent one for as much use as it's going to get. I can, the last time I really thought about, gee, it would be nice to have a bike was when I was on Sanibel Island in Florida. and traffic was so horrendous that and there were a lot of places to rent bikes, and it's relatively flat because I don't do hills. And I thought, you know, I could just bike around from beach to beach. And, you know, and I want to say it was like $25 a day, included the helmet, or maybe the helmet was $10, not really sure. But, you know, for me, and I have the Suzuki, it's not very big, but for being able to get to places that I wanted to go and park, okay, relatively close to the beach, the bicycle was the way to go. And I've thought about buying one. And then I thought, no, I'm not going to haul it around. I'm not going to worry about it getting stolen. I'm not going to, you know, take it apart because I'm worried about it getting stolen. I'm just not going to, no, I'll just rent. And for people that get into that consciousness, you can rent canoes and kayaks and boats and, you know, anything your heart desires, really. And then traveling in a class, I mean, in a class B or a van conversion can be logical because they're so much less expensive to move from point A to point B. That's just all there is to it. They're less expensive. And if you have any mechanical, no, oh no, I'm not even going there. Yeah, I'm not even going there. You know, they are probably, when you take a van to some place to have it repaired, it isn't as expensive, I will assume, because there are more places that will service or fix whatever your van than there are that will deal with your RV. And that's because RVs
Go ahead.
require the, you know, the big buildings that they can, you know, pull them into and work on them or whatever. You know, it's just kind of, you know, you kind of figure out, you know, what's best for you. For me, the height of the Class A, I enjoy this. The reason I enjoy it is when I'm driving down the road, I'm at the same height as semi-trucks. So in the event that I do have a collision of any kind, that accident, if it's with a car, for example, is actually happening underneath me, as opposed to in my chest, which is something to consider if you want to full-time RV. Is obviously you're out there driving around, it increases your opportunity for accidents, and you know, that just wouldn't be fun for anybody. Let's see, what else do we have? And it's, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, do you see yourself as mostly a boondocker? And then you buy the recreational vehicle that is appropriate for that lifestyle. I mean, for that matter, they build these, I think the military unloaded them. They're these enormous tank-like looking things. I'm sure they have a name, but some people have converted them into just stunning interiors. And those things are virtually unstoppable. Would that not be fun? Yeah. Would that be something I'd rent? Uh-huh. I would rent that as opposed to actually purchasing it, because my entire life is not out in the middle of nowhere, you know, rolling over big boulders and whatnot. You know, I enjoy some urban experiences. Not all of them, just some. And I want to be able to take part in some things that require me to go to. And, oh, it's better than a Humvee. I see Humvee right there. No, these things are massive. And I mean, they look like they could like move boulders to get them out of the way. They're awesome. I don't even know what they're called. Somebody like Google that. But they're all-terrain, unstoppable vehicles. Even if you tip them over, yeah, it's not the end of the world. You get it righted, and then no, not Humvees. No. Am I going to have to look this up myself? You know, I cannot go on Google and talk at the same time. Hard to believe, but true. But, you know, for all you people who write me and say, you know, is this a good choice? Is that a good choice? I don't know how to answer that because I don't know what kind of RVer you want to be. Do you want to be a, you know, run on the concrete driver? You know, you're always on a highway and, you know, you get off the highway to go into an RV park. You're a different kind of RVer than somebody who wants to drive their vehicle as far as they can without getting stuck and boondock for a month or a couple of weeks or 2 months or whatever. These are all things that come into play. Are you concerned about gas prices? Is it a life that you're going to be on the road so much that gas is, you know, in play? You know, the amount of gas. And interesting, I don't know what gas is here in North Carolina because I haven't gotten gas for a while, but it's on the last time I got gas, which was in the Suzuki, it was under $2 a gallon. So from that, I can surmise that gas in California, for example, is under $3 a gallon because they just add $1 for taxes and whatnot in California. So, you know, wherever it is that you're buying gas, California pays $1 more per gallon. I just thought so.
SAR is what they're called.
SAR.
Survival Adventure Rescue Box.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say Pippi Peterson went to one of their rallies. I want to say it was maybe in Colorado or someplace where it was cold and muddy. So choose your state. And she was going through them, and some of them were quite awesome. But for me, that would be something that, yeah, I would just rent one or whatever, you know, throw some food in it and a couple blankets and a pillow and head off into just, you know, places where nobody gets to go. And you know, how often would I do that? I don't know, twice a year. So those things, I'm assuming the tires aren't cheap, and I'm assuming that they're not that fun to drive on pavement, that you probably would have to change the tires from going off-road to pavement. Not sure, but I'm sure there's a learning curve with that, as there is with every RV style. There are learning curves, and there are people's imaginations. In California, a lot of people use horse haulers, you know, horses, and it's basically as their RV. They put their 1 or 2 horses in the back and then convert, you know, the horses don't have as much room as they did before, and then convert the rest of it into RV living. You know, refrigerator, stove, bed. It's pretty cramped. I've seen them. They're pretty cramped. But, you know, for people who are horse people or people who are motorcycle people, they have what is called, oh God, it's gone. I don't even remember what they're called. They're not fifth wheelers.
Toy haulers.
Toy haulers. Thank you so much. Toy haulers are abundant in California because people take their motorcycles or their 4-wheelers or 3-wheelers or whatever, and they go out to the desert, and then everything's, you know, nice, neatly packed into their RVs. The toy haulers don't offer anything other than bare bones. you know, it's not luxurious by any stretch of the imagination. And the furniture has no problem with, you know, beer and whatnot being spilled on it, because I think you just take a hose to the furniture and you hose it off. Some people make them very racy, decorative, you know, fun. Others, you know, they don't care because they're out there not to spend their time in the toy hauler, but to be on their motorcycle or whatever their apparatus is, to go out and burn up gas at 45 miles an hour. That's what they want to do. Eat the sand and that sort of thing. You know, that's what's fun for them. I have yet to meet a toy hauler person who is, geez, oh shit, I did it wrong. Who is living full time in their toy hauler. Now, I know you guys didn't see that because I clicked it off too fast, but once again, some man is trying to get on and show us his penis. Are you effing kidding me? I can't even tell you how insulted I am by that. How stupid you are. Oh, God, it just makes me want to throw up. It really does. But anyway, that's gone.
That's why we don't have men.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's why they're not. Because they're just assholes. You know, I really, really don't get it. You know, I say this every single time. And it doesn't even matter how old they are. The fact that at some point in their life, somebody said to them or made them think that showing their penis on a information channel when not invited to do so is acceptable. So if it's a 13-year-old sitting in his basement, yeah, I blame the parents, because the parents must be fucking morons. Okay, I can't talk about this anymore because this makes me insane. Can you tell? Let me have a moment. Talk among yourselves.
Anyway, if anybody's got any question why we do that, that is why.
And, you know, it's fortunate that there is a delay here on, you know, what I'm saying now versus when you're going to hear it. There's, I think it's 8 or 10 seconds or something. So it enables me to knock these people off. And I wish I could do it with, I don't know, a firearm. I'm all right. I'm going to recenter. It is okay.
You'd like to hit the end of it with a cattle prod. That would do it.
Oh, it's not enough. A cattle prod isn't enough. But yeah, I blame the parents, because the parents obviously are idiots and have no idea what their 13-year-old boy is doing downstairs or wherever in his closed bedroom, or sitting in the living room with an erection and going online. Oh, yep. My God. Honestly,
okay, let's change the subject.
Yes, I know, but let me just add this. Sometimes I really wish that we would have like a electronic pulse thing. What do they call that? Where it knocks out all the electricity in, okay, the world. And we wouldn't have any more electricity. We wouldn't have any more internet. We wouldn't have any more cell phones. We wouldn't have any more, okay, cars that work. That would suck. Okay, I'm back. I'm centered. I'm fine. And don't blame Jimmy Rance. Jimmy Rance never, no, he never, ever, ever did anything so incredibly icky. He was just a ranter. You know, he ranted. I liked it. Because every once in a while, I want to rant. Like crazy, though, rant. But I can't rant without saying really, really bad words. And they say that people who do not swear have really high blood pressure. Just so I throw that in. Okay, so
Adventures, Mr. Chin said those off-road things that Pippi went through is called Unimogs, and I think he's right.
yeah, Unimogs. Yeah, I knew it had a really, really weird name.
Yep.
And that's like an entire society of people. Now, I don't know that they travel. I mean, obviously, they went to a like, you know, meetup. But when they all take off, I'm assuming they all go in separate directions, because what would be the point of having a vehicle? Well, I guess that would be fun. You know, if everybody could get to the same destination, that would be good, I guess. That's okay. But yeah, I think that's what they were called too. And some of them, I think she showed, well, at least one that I really remember well was stunning. But I remember there was a lot of mud wherever they were. There was like a lot of mud. Yeah. And she like wanted to take off her shoes or didn't know what to do. And the guy was like, no, come in. So I suppose if you have one of those vehicles, that mud comes with the territory, along with dust and dirt and grime and whatever.
I think that couple that travels from Alaska down below and comes back all the time, his and her, what's the channel, his and her something or other, they're looking for one because they want to go around the world.
RV blog. His and her RV blog?
Could be.
Or his and her blogs or something
like that.
Yeah, I know that the trip up to Alaska the roads are very questionable for some vehicles. It does require a lot of prep and the correct vehicle. You know, I would never take this one up there. It would shake apart. There's no doubt in my mind. And this is it's either a 98 or a 99 Winnebago. So it's not really built for a lot of the things that I want to do with it, but that's okay. You know, next one. But I think that the thing that I always, when people say, you know, is this a good choice or is that a good choice, or, you know, would I be happy with this and things like that. YouTube is an ideal source to find out the good and bad of everything. And I would really suggest that you do your homework and look at everything that is out there available within your budget and plan accordingly. You know, because your budget is everything. And for a couple of RVers that I can think of, what ruined their full-time RVing experience was the mortgage on the RV. Okay, because these do not appreciate. They're not houses. They don't appreciate. They depreciate like a stone in a pond down to the bottom. So that's really something to consider.
It's not an investment.
Yeah, it's not a smart investment. Is that what you just said?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not. This is like getting a horse. Not a smart investment. This is not an investment of any way.
You have to look at it as entertainment.
Yeah. And for those of you who, you know, think they're going to go to an RV lot, you know, where they sell RVs and finance something and live so cheaply that making the payment on the RV is no problem. Guess again. It isn't going to happen.
Well, and I think too, I'm not sure of this, but I don't think you can get for a $350,000 motorhome, 30-year loan. I think you can only get it short time. So your payments are going to be big.
I haven't the faintest idea. I really don't know because I don't finance stuff anymore. I'm too old. If I don't have the cash to buy it, I don't buy it. I can't. Okay. Yeah. If I don't have the cash to buy it, I don't buy it. If I don't have the cash to go someplace, I don't go there.